Hello, everyone. I hope you all are well. Today, I'm going to look at a YouTube comment and I'm going to answer the question of the subscriber. And it's by Arun Kumar. And what he's saying is he's given his birth details, requests you to analyze my chart, divorce last year, which I'm guessing 2022, because this comment came out 11 months ago and I think I kind of missed it. So, divorce in 2022, everything is lost, any chance of improvement in personal life and financial situation. All right. So, now you can see the natives chart coming up, and I am not going to put the birth details of this native, but I will say Midhuna Rasi. And the Natchatram is Tiruvadare fourth Padam. All right, so Tiruvadare is a Natchatram owned by or governed by Rahu. So I would like to take your observation as to where Rahu is placed. It's in Rishabham, and I've put in the degrees, minutes, and seconds. So you can see the name of the planet, including the Lugnam, and you can see the degrees, minutes, seconds. For example, Lugnam is in Kadagam, 21 degrees, 58 minutes, 4 seconds, and so on. So you can see the moon is in Midhunam or Gemini. Tiruvadare fourth Padam, it's in 18 degrees, 21 minutes, 43 seconds. And I'd also like you to note where Venus is placed, Venus and Mars, because Venus is the Karagan or the significator for married life or partnership, intimacy, spousal communication. So you can see Venus and Mars is in the third house. And okay, let's just go through all the planetary positions. Saturn is in the fourth house, house of Tulam, and we know that Saturn exalts in the fourth house in Tulam, not in the fourth house, sorry, but in Tulam. In the fifth house, we've got an interesting mix of four planets. So, fifth house, we've got Suryan, the sun, we've got Mercury, we've got Jupiter, we've got Ketu. And I would like to take note of the degrees of Mercury, Jupiter, and Ketu. They are roughly closely clustered at around 20 odd degrees, very close. The sun is about 13 to 14 degrees away from each other. But the Suryan or the sun is the second house lord in the fifth house. All right. In the 11th house, we've got Rahu. In the 12th house, we've got the moon or Sandran. And Sandran is the Lagna lord who is so-called missing in the 12th house because 6, 8, 12, they are the Dustana houses, the vanishing houses or the negative houses. So the only planet that is in one of the Dustana houses is the Laknadibadi himself. So the moon is there. And the moon is right after a Paurnami moon. So it is in the waning phase, but just started to wane. So the mind is kind of strong, but because the Lakna Lord is missing in the 12th house or 12th house away from his own house, this person uh, is kind of doubtful of everything, has a little bit of self-confidence, right? Just a bit, um, but gets things right at the end. Why is that? Because Jupiter is looking at the Lugnam, not at the Lugnam Lord, but at the Lugnam. So the destiny of the person gets fulfilled anyway. Right? So maybe the person doesn't get things done, but through uh, getting the advice of family and friends, and then the person does it anyway, but still filled with doubt as to whether that is the pathway to take. But everything kind of works out because what are the what is the first thing that I always say in my videos? How do we judge a horoscope? How do we judge the uh, destiny and the fruitfulness of whether a person's destiny will be fulfilled? We look at house number 1, 5, and 9. That is the three corner houses or the triangle. So 1, 5, 9 is significant because that is the one that pushes us forward to accomplish what our destiny is, and we call them the Purva Punya Sthanam. And house number 1 is also unique in the sense that it also happens to be your Laknam. And for this native, Karaka Laknam in itself is kind of significant because you have to judge the phase of the moon. Kadagam's significator is the moon, and that's the only planet that can grow and shrink and is subject to eclipses with Rahu and Ketu. Now, when talking about divorce and talking about uh, the strength of a marriage, okay, one of the first few things I would say is Ashtama Sani, Yerdra Sani, or Janma Sani. Yeah? Ashtama Sani, Janma Sani will normally disrupt um, the marriage and the family life of a person because for Ashtama Sanis, it sits in the eighth house from the Rasi and looks at the second house, and second house is family, family life. House number 7 is spouse and partners, but family life per se is house number 2. Sunny for this native, again, it's exalted in Tulam. So Sunny, being the seventh house uh, agent, is exalted, but he will give his own characteristics, his own elements. So always there are three things to look at when you want to decide whether something works or doesn't work for you. You have to look at the house uh, or the bhava for that particular element that you're looking at, the particular feature. If you're talking about marriage, house number 7 and 2, and the planet that dictates or is the planet given the responsibility of that house number 7 and house number 2. House number 7 again, Saturn. So Saturn's elements will come out. Saturn is the one who has to make sure you get married, and Tulam is the uh, Tulam and Rishabham. If you can see it here, two shadow planets, two dark planets are in the house of Venus. So Rishabham is a house owned by Venus or Sukran, and so is Tulam. And uh, Venus is debilitated. Venus exalts in Meenam, but he goes in the opposite direction. He's at a minimum at Kanya Rasi, right? Or the house of Virgo, the Virgin. Now, I would like to talk about Karago Bhavanasti for a brief second. Right, so, Karago Bhavanasti is a particular planet has the element of a loved one, a living being with us. For example, Mars represents siblings. House number 3, so from the Laknam, we can see house number 3 also represents siblings. So, the planet significating siblings is in the house of siblings with Venus. That's the house of Virgin, Virgo, Kanya Rasi, Virgin as in female. So there is a masculine and feminine energy there. You must also take a look at the element. So the Panjabodhastan, this is the earth element, and it's a Ubhayasthanam, right? 3, 6, 3, 6, 10, 11. It grows in time. but there is a Karago Bhavanasti aspect here. So how a planet that represents siblings is in the house of siblings with Venus. So what does that mean? It already tells me there will be fights, misunderstanding with female siblings, sisters, of course, elder, younger sisters. And we can also see that Mars and Mercury have swap houses. So in Sanskrit and Tamil, we call it a parivartani. So what it tells me is that this person has got anger issues, so quick to anger, but gets subdued very quickly, and also has got very good knowledge skills, reading skills, mathematics, communication, logical sense, rationalizing things. So all that is very good. But Venus goes completely missing in the third house, and it's in Nicha Sthanam, debilitated. So it in its lowest aspect, so it's in the minimum. I mean, when I say minimum, I'm just talking about a sine wave. So there's a maximum and there's a minimum. So maximum is exalted, like what Sunny is in Tulam right now for this native, and you got Venus debilitated. Seventh house exalted, so that's why this person got married. The significator of wife or a partner, a spouse, is Sukran, Venus, is minimum. So you got one maximum. The aspect of the seventh house is critical. That that will determine whether the person gets married or not. But whether it's a successful marriage or not depends on the nature of the planet, the position, what other planet is looking at the seventh house, what planet is in the seventh house. And also we have to look at house number 2 and 5. 2 because it's family, 5 because children. So there were children. And the marriage didn't last because the Karagan, the aspect of marriage itself, uh, did not strengthen the marriage. And there's no other positive planet looking at the seventh house. There are two planets looking at house number 6, which is Mars is looking at house number 6. Saturn is looking at house number 6. So now I'm just jumping forward to the financial situation question. House number 6 is employability, right? Or being in employment, basically job, right? Having a job, keeping a job. You got two negative or shadow planets looking at house number 6. You've got Sunny and you've got Mars. So kind of disrupts the feeling of going to work for someone. But look at house number 10. It has got uh, Mars's drishti as well. So Mars is looking at house number 6 and is also looking at house number 10. But house number 10 is Mars's own house. House number 6 is Jupiter, who is missing 12 houses away in Vrichigam. So it's all going around in a complicated fashion because astrology is complicated. You have to look at everything, not just Rasi, Laknam, Ashtama Sani, Yaldra Sani, and that's it. No, you have to look at significators, you have to look at Karago Bhavanasti, you have to look at what is in transit today, where is Saturn placed, where is Jupiter placed and Rahu placed in as of today, uh, July 2024. So this person, since house number 10 is stronger, this person wants to be in his own trade. All right. So look at house number 11 from the Lucknow. That's where Rahu is seated. So what will happen to this person? This person will naturally marry again because house number 7 is not so strong. There's nothing positive. No positive planet is looking at it. House number 11 is second marriage. You've got Rahu sitting there, which means that Rahu being the head of the snake, that's where the venom, poison, all right, being a different kind of thinker about it. So that means, again, house number 11 is Rishabham's house. Rishabham is Nicham. I mean, the owner of Rishabham, Venus, is Nicham, debilitated. But I'm going to put up the dasa and bhukti that this native has been experiencing in the past and currently experiencing and what they're going to experience. So let's have a look. You've got Mercury Dasa, Mercury Bhukti, which has started and ended in July last year. Then just completed Mercury Ketu, currently Mercury Venus. So Venus, again, kind of significant because Venus represents spouse, commitment, intimacy. Uh, After that, after Venus from 2027 May, you've got Mercury Sun. Now, coming back to the Rasi chart, you've got Jupiter looking at house number 11, where Rahu is positioned. Sun is looking at house number 11, and Sun is family house. You know, the second house significator is there with Jupiter. Jupiter represents children. Again, another Karago Bhavanasti effect. Jupiter represents children. House number 5 represents children. This native has got even more um, positiveness. So Karago Bhavanasti is if it's too positive, Jupiter, if he was alone in house number 5 with Venus, so it's too positive. Yeah? Venus is a positive planet. Jupiter is a positive planet in house number 5. Jupiter represents children. House number 5 represents children. So this person, it's too bright. House number 5, this person will not have children. But because there's Ketu there, it brings down the positiveness. So Kargo Bhavanasti, you must have something to dull it down. All right, you have to water it down, so to speak. So it's good to have a negative uh, planet looking at it, or a negative planet either aspecting it or in the fifth house. So there is children or a child, definitely a female. And let's have a look what is happening there. All right. So we also, I also like to reference that Mercury and Mars, they have swapped houses. So house number 3 and house number 5, they have returned to their original houses. So in a way, this person deals with their sibling issues, deals with the uh, children's issue later on. This person will be better off at the second half of their life. So since they are running Mercury Venus now, Mercury Dasa Shukra Bhakti or Venus Bhakti up just started 4th of July this year, a few days ago, right until May 2027. So this person is definitely going to get remarried. That'll be much better than the first marriage. And since the sun is also involved and Mercury is now strengthened with Mars and Mercury, this person's communication will come back to how it was before the Ashtama Sani phase for Midana Rasi. Remember, this person went through Ashtama Sani 2020, 21, 22, and then had a very bad Mercury Ketu phase, just completed. But now, upward trend a bit. After that will be Mercury Sun. Again, Sun, house number 2 represents, amongst other things, I know I mentioned family life, but it also represents income capability. Not exactly income. Income is house number 11, or the volume of income. House number 11, that's Labhasthanam. House number 2 is the capability of um, pursuing income. So Sun is house number 2's significator is with Jupiter. Jupiter represents, amongst other things, gold, income. So capability of pursuing income is now on the rise. Jupiter itself, Jupiter and Sun, they are both looking at house number 11. And also Jupiter is looking at house number 9, which is a Bhagyastanam. So this person is in a blissful state right now, or just entered the blissful state and is going upwards, right? So I can only wish this native all the best because as of now, when I'm reading this person is going to make money through trade, through a leadership role, consultative role. Uh, there is joy, there is Bhakya right now. Bhakyam, house number 9 is kicking in. All right. And ability to actually run a family business that is started by the father because Suryan is involved. House number 2. And we also have to look at the planet's characteristic itself. You know, I said that for number 7th house, for marriage and spouse, the significator is Sunny, Saturn. So elements of Saturn will dictate how a marriage life is. That's house number 7 for first marriage. House number 11, second marriage. We know Venus is there. So it's kind of like, and Venus is in debilitated, Nicham state. So Ucham, Nicham, maximum, minimum. It'll be a okay marriage, second marriage, but a bit more refined, a bit more structured, better for the person. Why didn't the first marriage work? Well, the simple answer is that's a karma that this person has to deal with the first spouse. So that's over and done with. It's done. Second house with Rahu. Oh, and the spouse, 11th house planet sitting there is Rahu. So the person whom, I mean, the second wife is from a different ethnic background, different race of the native. So these are the forecasts. Again, there are much more to look at. I went very quickly overview of things like Karago Bhavanasti. I mentioned briefly about the Ashtama Sani of the native. Uh, House number 6 is being looked at by Mars and Saturn. But Saturn and Mars also looks at house number 10, but that is Mars's own house. Right? Mars has the energies of Venus, which is a positive planet, and then looking at it. And how, excuse me, and Mars has got special drishtis just like Saturn. Mars looks at house number 4, 7, and 8, and it looks at each of the houses differently. It doesn't look at house number 4, house number 7, and 8 with the same intensity and same benefic or malefic view. It looks at it differently. Again, that depends on the Laknam and Rasi of the native, whether they are friendly, whether it is a neutral house, friendly house, or enemy house. And of course, we have to look at Ucham, Nicham, exalted, debilitated. And then we have to look at the transit that is happening right now. And then we have to map it against the birth chart. So this chart is as per the native is born, whatever the native is going to experience has all been dictated. When they're going to experience is with the dasa bhukti or the transits of the big planets like, I mean, the major giant planets like Saturn and Jupiter and Rahu Ketu, because those are the planets that stay in a particular house for a longer period of time, unlike Mars, uh, Mercury, Venus, which is about 45 to 60 days. The quickest is the moon, 2.5 days maximum. The moon changes bhavas or houses, and that's how the Rasi changes. Anyway, this person will be fine. In conclusion, second marriage, much better. Income capabilities on the rise. Bhakya Sthanam is kicking in. This native's father is better, better health. This native is also able to pick up the father's trade or business and also has the luck for any property from the Father's side. So father's side property, land, heirloom, money that has been stored, it is all coming in to this native. And I wish this native, Arun Kumar, all the best. Please drop a comment if you would like me to reach out and read your chart for your specific query or concern. Please drop a comment. If you like me to read your chart separately, as in a private consultation, I can do that too. My email and phone number is in the details of this uh, video. And I hope you all are having a good week. I wish you all the best and God bless you all. Thank you, everyone.